So I do believe I'm on a path, but it's just not a particular religion. So what do you call that? I mean, I think most people would just refer to that as like spirituality, but I think that that term is so broad as to be that it just kind of would get lumped in there and become very indistinguishable in sort of the way that Christianity is like that in a way, where if you just say one thing about, if you say Christianity, you're including everything from like the crazy uh, Baptist church down south that wants to burn homosexuals, or all the way up to like, the Catholic faith and, things like that. So, um, what would you ask, or what would you answer to that question?
I would probably answer how most people would answer today. They would say that I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. Just because, you know, it I feel like that's just kind of the opening to let people know that you have like some type of connection with source or a higher power, but I'm not judgmental. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's like I'm open.
So I noticed that you avoided the word God, and that um, makes me wonder, is that word still taboo in today's like spiritual scene, or is it becoming less so, do you think? Or what's your take on that? Because it seemed like for a while it was almost a four-letter word. It's fine to say creator or source or the universe, but it tended to trigger people, and I think it still does. But what are your thoughts on that? Is the trend shifting?
Yeah, um, definitely. You have more people referring to God as the universe, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, I mean that's been going on for a while.
But it's more now.
You think it's more now?
I do.
Huh?
I think people are more comfortable with, especially because of now um, spirituality is very popular amongst the people who have gone through some type of religious trauma.
Hmm.
So the word God is part of that religious trauma to a lot of them people.
What type of religious trauma do you think?
Well,
As an example.
well, imagine like growing up in religious, like a strict religious Christian background. You know what I mean? And you're a homo. Like, I'm pretty sure it's a pretty uncomfortable life for you. And I always like when I would see like gay people at the church, I'd be like, why would you even want to be
Hmm.
here? You know what I mean? Like it's just like this is the one place that you're technically just not welcome.
Well, I mean, some churches I think are more welcoming of them
I
today,
see
for
that,
sure.
but I don't call that. That's not real church to me.
And then also some I have seen it before where a church welcomed uh, homosexuals in so that they could try to cast the homosexual demon out of them.
look, look, I don't have. Look, this is how I feel about all of that. It's like, you know, if you're gonna be something, then be that. If you're gonna be part of a team,
Hmm.
then you follow those teams' morals and rules and stuff.
Okay.
Otherwise, don't be part of the team.
What's the benefit of being on the team of a religious team, let's say?
Well, there's lots of benefits because I grew up in in a religious family and religious background. There's tons of religion. There's tons of things. What did you call them?
Benefits.
Benefits.
Yeah.
There's tons of benefits. You get that sense of community. You know what I mean? You got these people that all care about the same thing that you care about, and you can call them like you can call somebody to pray with you, and you got this connection, and they feel as though it's obligation to be there for you as well. So it's like you always got like people. You know what I mean? Like that I'm sure is a benefit, especially if let's say you don't have a family or something, so it's like, your church family is your family.
Yeah, yeah. I think especially today as well, and especially after COVID, so much changed in the way that we relate to each other. And it may be that people could find that a good way to connect with community, like you said, and a very supportive environment and things where everyone is, generally trying to be positive and move their lives forward in a good direction. And I think mainly what separates religion from spirituality is just that religions adhere to very specific principles and doctrine and rules, we could say, ways according to which to live. And spirituality, let's say, and they also have, usually it entails a community of people who meet regularly for the purpose of what? What do they gain? They're gaining community. Are they gaining knowledge? Are they gaining a closer connection to God?
Well, I think so, in a sense, because and okay, so like I grew up in the black churches, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know what a Catholic experience is like. So I only know what a black church experience is like. I've been to the Catholic churches and I've talked to Catholic people, and they don't seem the same. You know what I mean? It's like I've been to Catholic churches that had bars in them.
Really?
In the fellowship halls, yeah. Numerous of them. And that's like, okay, but in the black church, that would never happen. Like,
I mean, I grew up Catholic. I've never seen a bar in that church.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was alcohol at events for sure.
So it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I think maybe like a spaghetti dinner or something. There was alcohol.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. In a black church, it would never happen.
Okay.
Never.
It wasn't in the church.
It didn't matter.
It was a church function.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like there's a huge disconnect. So I can't really even speak because I didn't grow up that way.
Okay.
I grew up in a
but no, back to like getting closer, because I think that's the goal, or certainly one of the goals should be, right?
Yeah.
So
in a black church, I feel like everybody that's there is trying to get closer to God.
Mm-hmm.
In the Catholic Church, I feel like people are there because of tradition and obligation. I feel like that's completely different. I don't think that that's the same. And I don't want to speak too much on that because I don't know too much about it. That's just my observation. That's my real minute, like real surface level observation of the Catholic faith.
Fair. That's fair. I would say that I have seen that for sure. And there's also the other, definitely. And I don't know, I think it's a lot of just people who are in the tradition and they don't know anything else, and it's the only thing that they know. So they're just kind of doing their best, but they don't really know how to connect to God, and it's not necessarily taught, which is one of the things that really separates Western religion from Eastern religion, is that in the Eastern religions, they generally have very specific, like, pathways, precepts, contemplations and things, in order to not just have some belief system or set of values, but to open oneself up to a direct experience of divinity.
I'd say that Christianity offers that as well.
Yes, I mean, all religions offer it, but I don't think that they do have a pathway for sure. And like even the Catholic Church has a pathway to have, the sacraments that you progress through as you move through it. In other Christian faiths, they have sacraments as well, but they have other methodologies. They have retreats. They have all sorts of things to try to do that and embody it. But the methods, I don't think, well, they haven't, first of all, they just haven't had enough time to develop those methods. I mean, it's only been, the Christian faith really has only been a split thing for the last, 500 years, something like that. So not very long, whereas these other traditions have thousands of years of contemplating these things and, working to get methods. And that's they spend a lot of their time trying to focus on methods that awaken one to a more of a direct experience of whatever that is, spirit, higher power,
I don't know if I
God.
agree with that either.
Well, that's my experience. It's my opinion, but you're
Because,
certainly
like, I do respect a tradition having thousands of years of experience. But, it's like, it's not like they're, like, writing new books. It's not like, it's not like they got, like, it's like, this is what we've been doing for thousands of years.
Well,
it's not like they're innovative.
to your point. I mean, many of the practices that I do aren't specific like ancient practices. Sometimes I do, but a lot of them are just modern practices that may have a foundation in those same. It's all trying to point to the same thing, right? So it's basically just trying to get awareness to wake up to itself first and foremost. That's I believe that the way to God, to experiencing God, is within. And of course we experience it without, in the beauty of nature and a loving connection of relationships and all the things. But to get closer to God, I think we need to go within to do that. I think that's where the portal lies.
Okay. I kinda understand where you're going with that, and kinda agree for the most part. I guess the only difference is I don't think we'll ever have any more of an ability to get closer to God than we have right now. Like, we're as close to God as we're ever going to get.
Oh, no, for sure. However, our experience of that can vary greatly. Like, you can't get away from it. It's everywhere. It's always. It's here now. It's before, during, and after. And it's inescapable. Yeah? However, we don't usually experience that, or else we'd be in bliss all the time. And most people, if you look around, they're just not. Even especially religious people aren't necessarily experiencing that, if ever, but maybe like on a peak experience. We're like, oh yeah, that time I was in that special place with those people, or it was that thing that was happening, and then suddenly everything became clear, or what have you. We can call it a religious experience, or even like a spiritual awakening. But having those are amazing, right? It's an incredible inspiration to want to go further, but to have that space, let's say, or that connection to that divinity through your direct conscious experience, having that available, at will almost, is something quite profound, unordinary. But I think it's possible. I think we are capable. I believe more and more of us are learning how to do this. So that's because, wouldn't it be beautiful if that was where churches were, where people went to find God and they actually succeeded, not just in a belief system or dogma or community of people who are all aimed towards the same thing, but through like a literal bursting open of the heart and a revelation that, oh my God, this type of thing. Wouldn't that be awesome? So I think that's what people who are just, who shun religion, are definitely seeing. Obviously the corruption or whatever, and people who are just there for, whatever their purposes are other than community and religion and things. But it's sorely, I think, lacking, is like a systematic approach to awakening the divine within the aspirant. Not to say that spirituality in general has made some sort of path, but there are many, many paths. My personal belief is that it's really maybe necessary, almost necessary, let's say. Some people might avoid it, but for the majority of us, I think it's necessary to have a path and a teacher, to follow a system. We don't have to stay on that system forever, but to help us navigate the process and also help us be accountable. I know other people don't feel that way, and it's a minor disagreement. We're all moving in the same direction. What do you think about that?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there, but I feel like the I guess the Western religions. I feel like I've met a decent amount of people who appear to like take the faith serious. You know what I mean? It's like every person that I've met that was a Christian, I would believe that they were experiencing those experiences that you were talking about. Like they just experience it in their own way, but it's real. Like because all the Christian religion that I know is talking about, it's like, you connected to source always. God is always with you, but like, just like God is there, like the sun is there, and if the clouds come out, it's like you don't feel the rays of the sun, but the sun is still there, So it's like Christianity is just telling you, okay, well, if you don't do these things, and if you follow these principles, will take away some of those clouds to help you experience those experiences that you were talking about. So the Christians that I've met that devote their life to following these rules, to studying the Bible, and to trying to be their best, I think that they're having an amazing experience. The limitations, I believe, come in to, there's a couple limitations. One is their belief in Satan. And but again, people who really study, I don't think they are limited by Satan. You know what I'm saying? Because people who study know that they have to put work in. They have to be better and stuff. But people who are surface level learners, they hear, devil is a liar. That's all you hear people say. Devil is a liar. Devil did this to me. Devil did that to me. It's like, no. Like the devil did not. Like you did that to me. And that's my issue with Christians, particularly Western religion. It's like, I don't believe in Satan. I don't think that's, and if there was a Satan, he's not nowhere near as significant as people give him credit to be. You know what I mean?
So I will, in my experience in the Catholic Church, there's way less emphasis on Satan whatsoever, and I agree with what you're saying. In terms of like many traditional Christian churches' view of Satan and things, and how it's almost like a scapegoat.
He is the scapegoat.
Yeah.
He is the scapegoat, and that is an issue when it comes to.
However, conversely, though, I will also, to your other point, I believe I've seen more people in traditional Christian churches who have displayed what I would consider to be the light of Christ than I have in Catholic churches overall. I mean, that's just what I can sense.
Yeah.
There's a certain genuineness there that is there, and not all. Some I've gotten a weird, creepy vibe from, for sure. But, like they're trying to pull you into the system, your belief structure, and, that kind of thing. But many of them I've met that was just like, yeah, these are just beautiful people, you can tell.
Yep. And that's my experience because I grew up around these people. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because, it's the Christian community is just like any other community. It's like any community, like sports or work or music or something, right? You got guys that are really good. You got guys that really wish that they were really good. You got guys that are working to be really good. You got guys that just suck. And you got posers, and they're all in there.
Who's the most enlightened, or what tradition do you think is producing the most enlightened, awakened spiritual being today?
Can't say.
Can't say. I want to have a competition. So it's one of dream of mine. So
It's not a
we're working on
competition.
getting it together.
It's not a competition. Enlightenment can't never be a competition.
Yeah, that's. We're going to make it though. Make it a battle.
Well, good luck, man, because it's just like how there's different type of smarts. Can you say that? I always say all the time, dogs are dumb. I think dogs are dumb, right? I say that to be jarring. I honestly think that dogs are very intelligent, but just not intelligent how I want them to be. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
it doesn't mean I don't really think they're dumb. I just wish that they were intelligent differently. Like, yo, you got that big ass tail behind you. You see it knocking everything the fuck over, right? Like, chill the fuck out. You know what I mean? Like, yo, like that type of shit is what agitates me. But it's like, I don't think that they're really dumb. I just think that they're smart differently. So I think each religion has a different thing that makes them better at this thing. Some are better at this thing. Some are better at devotion and sacrifice, and some are better at surrender and all of this shit. You know what I mean? Like, different religions have different things that make them great, but they all have a limiting factor, and that's literally when you.
Could be some shaman. I doubt it though, but it could be.
Some shaman.
Yeah. Now, what is the goal of Christianity on this earth, do you think?
The goal of Christianity is to be like Jesus. Like, that's the only goal.
So, but we're talking about more than just behaving according to these precepts, right? We're talking about a transformation. I would hope at the highest, right? I'm talking about at the highest level. What do we hope to gain from following this faith in this life? What are we aspiring to become?
I think that's different for everybody. Each individual has a different thing with theirs. You know, but like, as far as Christianity goes, everything that you're doing is to just be more Christ-like. Like, literally everything is to just be more Christ-like. Giving up things, starving the flesh. You know, like, flesh would be things of the kingdom of Satan and shit. So you're like starving yourself of pleasures and things that you you know, could get you hemmed up per se to live a righteous life of righteousness. That's the other problem with Christians, is self-righteousness, because it's like, you know, like that's like their goal. Their goal is self-righteousness. So it's like, you know, it's a trait that comes with that religion. So it's one of them things you just can't get around from. But at the same time, they are the ones who don't smoke, don't hate, don't adulterate, don't fucking cheat. So they actually, technically, would be the ones hearing God the best. Because they are more focused. They're the most focused and stuff. But it'd be that self-righteousness that creates separation, you know what I mean? And that's where they're cut off. That's another one of their limitations, because if I'm better than you, then I'm separate than you, then that creates a whole another set of issues. So,
yes,
you know.
Yes, separation is the core error, I believe. It's the cause of suffering at its root. It's always separation which creates that suffering. And it's a failure to see the invisible, yet that which can be perceived if one is committed to it, right? But it's just not normally taught in our culture, nor is it really recognized to actually embody a state of oneness, of knowing, not just believing, but having some sense of feeling, a felt sense of, it's all one thing. And, you know, I don't know what it would take for this to happen in mass. Some might say it's just a pipe dream, it would never happen. But I always still think it's possible. You know, we've leveled up in consciousness before. Um, we don't know why.
I know it's possible. It's just like what I know about people is a lot of people, they don't believe it until they see it. They need something. They need tangible evidence. So, as we progress with science, and there's going to be more people like you and myself who are trying to prove this, and making more resource, creating more resources from consciousness building, and having the scientific backing, like the research scientifically to prove on a scientific level that people are connected, that everything is connected. Like once people can see that in a way that they can digest, it'll be asinine to treat people the same way. Like everybody has to change, and it'll be like a hard ass realization at first.
Maybe the AI will do it.
I don't care about the AI. AI is just another tool, and they ain't here to do shit.
Well, I'm just saying in the way that it could unite people on a deeper level, in a sense. People are all hooked into it.
It wouldn't be AI. It would be some person who programmed AI. It would be still a guy. It would be a person. It wouldn't be AI. It would be still some dude or some lady.
Well, I guess the intention, well, this is just going off on a wildly different tangent, so maybe I don't want to even explore this. But they're obviously working to create the AI that can make itself, so then it wouldn't be some guy making it anymore. It'd be the AI making it, determining what it's going to make itself into. Sort of like people are doing on the spiritual path. Well, that seems like a good spot to end it. Thank you as always, my friend. I know I can count on you for a fresh perspective and, clear, truthful communication from the heart. So appreciate you, brother. Much love.